Hey guys, you're listening to Fe y Flow. I'm your host, Sitlali Anai, and welcome back. In the next few episodes, I will be a little bit congested. I'm a little sick right now, but I hope you bear with me and you keep me in your prayers. For today's episode, we are talking about almsgiving. So, in the spirit of Lent, this is one of the 3 pillars that we are called to do as Catholics. And almsgiving is mentioned numerous times in the Bible. And this is something that I think a lot of people kind of go over their heads. And I'm going to start off with a story, something that happened to me that I've held very close to my heart for a long time. So I lived in Chicago for 3 years after I graduated high school. And in those years, I had a job working downtown. Absolutely loved it. I remember one day I walked into Chick-fil-A and I had ordered food. So I went to the side to the pickup area to wait for my food so I could leave. And I remember there was a lot of people around me. It was very busy, but there was nobody in line to order. Everybody was just waiting to pick up. And this man comes up to the front of the line and he goes to place an order. And I remember I was on my phone, but I could overhear this man was placing a pretty large order of food. So in the end, his total came out to maybe $20, $30. And the cashier looked so annoyed. He was just completely over this man ordering food. And I could tell this man, he seemed to be homeless. He had on multiple layers. He was hunched back. He just looked a little scraggly, to place it nicely. And my heart was reaching out to him because this little cashier boy was making faces at him and was just rolling his eyes. Sir, I need payment. I can't place this order if you don't pay me. So this man digs into his pockets and one by one he's pulling out all of his pockets out and there's nothing coming out. He has no money on him. And with sad eyes, he looks up at this boy and he says, I don't have any money. And then he turns around and he starts looking in the general direction of the people waiting in line. And he just takes a glance around the room. And he doesn't say anything, but he just slowly starts to look around. And the boy says, Sir, you're going to have to go if you're not going to pay. And so the man just walks away. And he walks outside of the Chick-fil-A. And I remember this entire encounter, my heart was racing. My heart was racing because every inch of my body wanted to move forward and wanted to help this man. But what did I do? I stood by and I watched. And I watched and I thought, nobody in here helped him. I didn't help him. And what am I doing? I'm about to go to work and enjoy my lunch at work. And could I have afforded to buy his food? Absolutely. But did I? Absolutely not. I made no effort to help this man. And since that day, every single time that I pass a man or a woman, a person on the street, I remember this time. I see that man that I didn't help in Chicago, that man who was hungry and who was secretly praying to have food, to have someone come out and help him. And so Now, I make an effort to try. I went to daily mass this morning, and Father James mentioned that in order to do good, we must learn to do good. So we follow others, how we're raised, our communities around us, our parents, our siblings, our friends. The good that they do comes on to us. And that's what we consider to be good. And that's the good that we follow. So, for example, if somebody celebrates birthdays and they give very generous, thoughtful gifts, likely you will probably do the same thing. If you go out into a restaurant and you were not taught to tip, you didn't see your family tip, likely you also don't tip. Maybe you just tip the requirement. Maybe you only tip when somebody is actually serving you, not when you go get a coffee. Everyone has different mannerisms of how they were brought up. And so, one thing, you want to do more good, learn how to do good. So, I'm encouraging in hopes with this episode to give you some ideas and examples of what you can do in order to do good things in this world. And especially with this season of Lent and almsgiving, when we are called to give more of ourselves. In this situation, especially with people in the streets, we are called to feed the hungry. We are called to clothe the poor and to help those in need. Like Luke chapter 10, verse 31 to 37. This is the Good Samaritan. There's a priest who goes and passes a man on the street in obvious distress and in need of help. And what did he do? He did the exact thing that I did, which was witness someone and did nothing and just walked away. And that's what a lot of us do, especially in big cities. There's so many homeless people outside sleeping on benches, just wandering around. And a lot of times, our guilty conscience chooses to pretend like they're not there. We avoid eye contact. We act like we're on the phone. We choose, if they verbally ask for help or for money, we just, no, sorry, not right now. Maybe you do have cash on you. And you lie and you say, no, I don't have anything, sorry. Or maybe you just say, I don't have any money. Lies. Don't lie, please. That is God. That is Christ in front of you. And he's asking something of you. And there are many reasons why people choose not to give, especially in this scenario. And I'll list out a few. The biggest one is, oh, they're going to use this money for harm. They're going to buy drinks, alcohol, drugs, whatever. And whatever it is that they are going to use the money for, that is not your concern. If they are asking, our job is to help. If somebody asks me for $1 and I have $1 and they obviously look like they need it more than I do, I'm going to, how can I help you? Maybe you don't feel comfortable giving money directly. Another reason is I don't have cash on me. So now I make it a point to carry cash on me. Since that scenario, I have had people come up to me to ask for money for the train, which ever since that day happened, I make it a point. Doesn't matter what I have on me, I'm making it a point to help them no matter what. Because after that, I said, I'm going to hell. I am going to hell. Today's reading during Mass was Isaiah chapter 1, verse 16 to 20. And I really encourage you to meditate and sit with this reading. At the end, it says, "If I refuse and resist, the sword shall consume you." I'm kind of paraphrasing at this point, but that was me refusing and resisting the help, the desire of someone in need, and refusing to help. I'll give you an example of a good story, actually, a little bit of light. It was right before we left for our trip to the Philippines. Eric and I went to the store to pick up a few things. We stopped by Walmart, and on the way out, there was a man outside. He had a bracelet on with his name on it. And he said, "Hi guys, could you help me out? I could really use some help." I remember he was holding on to a Bible. We passed by this man outside of Walmart, and I said, "Eric, should we ask him if he's hungry?" And he said, "Yeah, we can do that." So we go up to him and say, "Hey, are you hungry? We can get you some food." He said, "Food would be really good. I would take some food, but I'm actually looking for a place to stay tonight. There's a hotel nearby, and I want to stay at this hotel, and I want to call my son." And at this point, Eric, he's looking questionable. He's trying to find the flaws in this man's story. And he's like, "We'll be back. We'll be back." And so we leave. We pick up some food for him, and we come back. And while we were picking up the food, I had this thought in my head of, we need to help this man. He's like, "I had just gotten out of the hospital, and I want to make sure my son is okay." His son was not there with him. I can't tell you if he did or did not have a son and where he was. But while we were there, I just thought of me being in a situation where I didn't have a bed, where I had to sleep outside, and anything can happen. Just sleeping on a bench, there's no comfort, there's no security. And so I asked him, "Eric, can we help this man?" He's like, "Yeah, we're bringing him food." And I said, "Can we afford to help this man and get him a night at a hotel?" And he said, "Yes." I've never done anything like that, but yes, we can. And so once we brought out the food to him, I could tell Eric was hesitant. He was nervous about this whole situation. But after giving him the food, we asked him where he wanted to go. And he already had a place in mind where he had stayed at previously. So we drove him there. It was $70 for one night. And so he paid the clerk at the front for one night for him to stay there. And he said, "What are you going to do now?" He's like, "Well, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to shower, and then I'm going to get some rest." But throughout the car ride, we actually got to talk to him. We come to find out that his dad was in the choir at his church. His family was really involved in the church, which is why he carried a Bible with him. And scripture was a big part of his life. Now it sounded like his family had separated. One of his family members died, and his life was now in a place where he didn't have a home. And he wanted to find a job so that he could provide for his son. And so with that, we left him. We gave him our prayers. And we gave him up to God and said, God, he's in your hands now. And we walked away that night and we went to Eric's parents' house. And we have not spoke of this day since. We didn't tell anyone about this, but it is something that I have been so proud of him. Something that has brought me so much joy in knowing that we did something good for this man. Whereas before, seeing someone on the street, I would do everything in my power to ignore them. So now, I challenge you, anytime you see someone on the street, ask them, is there something I can do to help you? Have you eaten yet? Can I get you some food? Can I buy you some clothes? Are you cold? Do you need a drink? Can I give you a ride somewhere? These questions give people hope, and it makes them feel like they're human, because they are. Christ is in every single one of those people. That sometimes we look at him as if they were rats or just less than. We are so blessed to have everything we need and more. And it's not just in the homeless that we can give back. It's in little things. Almsgiving is about giving your time. Maybe you always go to self-checkout because you hate talking. Maybe try actually going to a cashier and asking about their day. Ask them what's something you're looking forward to today. What's something exciting that happened recently? And then just be quiet. Just shut up. Just let them talk. Just let them open up to you. And just be present with them. Maybe if you don't regularly tip, or if you tip the bare minimum, maybe you give a little more this time. My father was a busboy growing up. For many years, he worked cleaning tables. And so any single tip that was left on his table, he was grateful to bring home. And so now, anytime that we go out, he tips generously for any single purchase, because he has been in the situation of earning the bare minimum. My father is one of the most generous men when it comes to tipping, because he's been in that situation. And so I encourage you in this season, put yourself in shoes that are not yours. Put yourself in the situations of not having enough. Realize that everything we have is a gift. All of our money will one day vanish. We will one day vanish. It's not about what we bought. It's not about how much we have in our accounts. It's about the actions that we did while we were here. What do you want to be known as? The stingy rich person that died alone and grumpy? Or the generous, loving person that took care of people and actually cared for them? Which one do you think God will be more pleased with? So, thank you so much for listening to this episode. If you know someone who can take something from this, please share it with them. Share the generosity. Make it a point today, sometime this week, the next time you go out, to give a little extra. Maybe a smile to a stranger. Maybe a conversation to a stranger. Maybe you give an extra tip, or you start carrying cash in your wallet in case you run into someone who might be in need later on. Maybe you buy flowers on the side of the road from people who are trying to make a living. Just try to give, try to be more present, because Christ is in everyone. So until next episode, thank you so much for listening. Subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.